Today, we're diving deep into the hidden financial engine of Marriott's massive vacation business. We're going to pull back the curtain on a price gap so huge, it exposes the very core of their entire strategy. Let's jump right in. So let's kick things off with just one number, and it's a big one, 800%. Yeah, you heard that right. This isn't some kind of typo. It's a massive disconnect in value that really makes you ask, what is going on here?
And here's where that number comes from. If you buy vacation points directly from Marriott at one of their sales presentations, you're paying somewhere between $16 and $22 a point. But if you go to the resale market, you can buy the exact same product for just $2 to $4. And that, right there, is the mystery we're unpacking today, a valuation gap of up to 800% for the identical asset.
So, how on earth do they justify that? To figure it out, we have to break down what you're really paying for when you buy retail. And trust me, the answer is probably not what you think it is.
Here's the key thing you got to understand. That high price tag has very little to do with the actual value of the vacation property. It's really just a funding mechanism. It's calculated to cover the enormous cost of marketing, sales events, and commissions needed to get you to sign on the dotted line.
And this chart really tells the story. For every single dollar you hand over to Marriott at a retail sale, almost half of it, we're talking 40 to 50 cents, goes straight to paying for sales and marketing. Think about that. Less than half of your money is actually buying the product, the rest is paying for the machine that sold it to you.
Now, you might be thinking, how is this even legal? Well, a lot of people started asking that exact same question. And that massive price gap, it eventually led to a landmark lawsuit that threatened to bring Marriott's entire points-based model crashing down. The lawsuit was called Lennon versus Marriott, and it dropped a bombshell allegation. The argument was basically this. Marriott was charging people real estate prices for something that was marketed as real estate, but what owners actually got was much closer to a simple membership, a right-to-use license that wasn't really property at all.
And this right here shows you just how high the stakes were. If the court agreed that these points weren't real estate, the whole model could unravel. All those closing costs could be seen as fraudulent fees, and any tax benefits owners thought they had, poof, gone.
For Marriott, the domino effect would have been an absolute catastrophe. We're talking billions, with a B, in loans that Marriott packages and sells to investors on Wall Street. Those could have been reclassified as junk overnight. The whole system they used to foreclose on and resell defaulted properties would have been broken. This wasn't just a lawsuit, it was an existential threat.
So, with their backs against the wall, what did Marriott do? Well, their most powerful move didn't happen in front of a judge. It happened in the Florida State House, where they pulled off a masterclass in legislative maneuvering.
And the timing here is, well, it's pretty telling, isn't it? The Lennon lawsuit gets filed in 2016. And then boom, just 1 year later, while the legal battle is still raging, a very specific bill gets passed in Florida.
This new law was basically a silver bullet, custom-made to solve Marriott's problem. It changed Florida law to explicitly state that the kind of beneficial interest they sell is legally considered real property. It directly attacked the central argument of the lawsuit. But here's the real genius move. You see this phrase? Intended as a clarification of existing law. That little bit of legalese is everything. It allowed the new favorable definition to be applied backwards in time to the very contracts at the heart of the lawsuit. And just like that, the plaintiff's case was gutted. Game, set, match. So, with that huge legal threat out of the way, Marriott could turn its full attention to building a financial fortress, a set of strategies all designed to protect its high retail prices from the reality of that much cheaper resale market. And their playbook is pretty straightforward. It's a three-part plan to build a moat around their retail business. Control the supply, devalue the competition, and make it expensive to go anywhere else. First up is something called the right of first refusal, or ROFR. Here's how it works. Anytime an owner tries to sell their points on the open market, Marriott gets to see the contract. If they think the price is too low, so low it might make their retail prices look bad, they can just swoop in, match the offer, and buy it back themselves. It's their way of putting a floor under the market price. Next, they make sure that buying resale feels, well, less good. They strip key benefits away from resale buyers. You can't convert your points into hotel points. They won't count towards elite lifetime status. It's all designed to create two classes of owners and push you back towards their sales centers.
And then there's this, which might be their most aggressive move yet. They charge a mandatory $3 per point fee for resale transfers.
Now that might not sound like a lot, but for a standard 4,000-point package, that's an extra $12,000 you have to pay directly to Marriott. Even if the seller literally gave it to you for free, you're still on the hook for a 12-grand fee.
So, after all the legal games and the defensive fees, what does this all actually mean for your wallet? Let's break down the actual cost of ownership over 10 years. Okay, the data here is just unambiguous. Even after paying all of Marriott's punitive fees, the resale buyer's total 10-year cost is about $72,000. The retail buyer, almost $140,000. You are paying nearly double for the exact same vacation. Let that sink in for a moment.
To put that in perspective, when you buy retail, your effective cost per vacation is right up there with staying a week at a 5-star luxury hotel, but with none of the flexibility. The resale buyer's cost, on the other hand, is much closer to what you'd pay for a high-end vacation rental. It really shows you that financially, the retail model just doesn't hold up.
Which brings us to our final question. Is this whole system, this 800% price gap, defended by special laws and punitive fees, is it the mark of a brilliant business model? Or is it simply a pricing illusion, a structural necessity required to keep a business afloat that can't actually withstand the reality of its own secondary market? That's the multi-billion-dollar question at the very heart of this industry.